Remember when unlocking something in Mortal Kombat actually felt exciting? Like, for example, you'd beat a challenge, or complete a tower, or just beat Conquest mode or the story mode, and then you'd open up something in the crypt, and suddenly you'd unlock a brand new character, a costume, an arena, an artwork, or maybe just an entirely new game mode. There was always something waiting around the corner, and that made you want to keep playing. Now, fast forward to modern Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 1. A lot of the coolest skins are sold separately. New characters are announced before the game even launches as DLC, and instead of wondering what you'll unlock next, you're wondering what you'll have to buy next. Now, don't get me wrong, modern Mortal Kombat still has things to unlock. I'm not saying that there's absolutely nothing. Like, there's the story mode character, and there's still like those crypt artworks and etc, etc, but the feeling is completely different. It feels less like you're earning rewards and more like you're just checking off a seasonal battle pass. So today I want to talk about why Mortal Kombat forgot how to reward players, and why its older games made progression feel so much more satisfying. But if you guys don't know me by now, I'm Mr. Frosty Flames, but you can call me Mike. We do anything gaming news, reviews, playthroughs, etc, and we do it in a chill way with no over editing BS. So if you enjoyed that style of content, be sure to hit that sub button and join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Anyways, let's get back to the video. One of the biggest strengths of the PS2 era wasn't just the gameplay or the stand switching, etc. It was how much the games rewarded you for exploring. Take Deadly Alliance for an example. You weren't just fighting matches, you were basically earning coins to spend in the crypt with everything you did. You played Conquest mode, you would get coins. You would play the ladder, you would get coins. And you would spend them in the crypt, and you would open these coffins. And opening coffins wasn't just getting, another currency. Some might contain new characters, some might contain an alternate costume, maybe a concept art. I remember even they had videos, music videos, and you could even input some cheats. You never really knew what was inside. That mystery sort of kept you playing. And then Mortal Kombat Deception kind of expanded on that idea. They had a more deeper Conquest mode, which rewarded exploration. You would find hidden characters in that Conquest mode, and you would find hidden chests in that Conquest mode, which contain new characters, and you would unlock new alternate costumes. You know what I mean, right? You would discover secrets throughout the realms. The game constantly made you feel like there was another surprise waiting for you, and it respected your curiosity. Even Mortal Kombat Armageddon was packed with rewards, and while people criticize parts of that game, one thing it absolutely nailed was giving you reasons to keep playing. You had the Conquest mode, you had the Mortal Kombat, you had all these create a fighter things that you would spend coins on to customize your character and customize its moves. I mean, there was always something to do. There was new rewards, new pieces you could unlock in the crypt, unlock alternate content, alternate costumes. Everything you did felt like it was building towards something, and because of that, progression actually felt exciting in the 3D era. You weren't just watching the numbers go up, you were actually unlocking meaningful content, and that's the difference. And characters used to feel earned too. I remember the old days, not just with Mortal Kombat, but with other fighting games where you would buy, say, like a PS2 game like Mortal Kombat Deception or something, and you would load onto the game and you would create a profile, and when you start, you would see that half of the character selection screen was blacked out, or they had a lot of characters that were grayed out that you needed to unlock. And I was like, man, not knowing it at the time, I was like, bro, I want to unlock these characters. I want to see who's behind these gray, silhouettes, because they could be a cool character, right? Especially if you didn't know the full roster at the time. And it really kept you engaged, because this is probably the biggest change from older Mortal Kombat to modern Mortal Kombat. Because remember when unlocking a character actually felt special? You heard rumors about it from friends, how did you unlock Blaze? How did you unlock Frost? What do I have to do to get this character? Actually unlocking them felt like an accomplishment. Nowadays, most new characters are just simply DLC, and maybe you'll have a single character that's unlockable from completing the story mode or something. You already knew the base roster, months before release because of leaks and everything. You already know how to get them, you buy them, there's no mystery, there's no surprise, there's no sense of discovery. And while DLC makes sense from a business perspective nowadays, It definitely changes how rewarding the experience feels. And the crypt also used to feel like an adventure because it's another great example of what Mortal Kombat used to do, right? Especially with Mortal Kombat 11. You know, back then it wasn't just a menu, it was exciting. In the old games, every coffin could contain something completely different. Sometimes you'd save up coins specifically because you wanted to see what was inside one expensive coffin. Even though you would get an artwork or a video, it still felt like you were uncovering the history of the franchise. It felt rewarding because you still earned it. Modern crypts have visually looked incredible. MK11's crypt especially was a huge step forward in presentation. You know, walking around in a semi-open world Shang Tsung's island was genuinely cool, but eventually the excitement wears off once you realize that so much of the system revolves around randomized rewards or repeated currency farming. The atmosphere is amazing, don't get me wrong, but take that atmosphere and put it with like an old MK Crypt style. You know, you could still walk around and do your open worlds and solve puzzles, but give us the rewards of the old games. The progression doesn't always hit the same. It's like we're gonna put the basic stuff in the crypt, maybe like the color swaps or the palette swaps, maybe some basic gear in the crypt, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but then we're gonna put the cool stuff behind dragon crystals, and you're gonna have to pay us $20 for the old skin that you really like, or a really cool Sub-Zero skin that you really want, that looks really cool, that should be an alternate costume, but no, you gotta pay $20 for it, and that sucks. Modern rewards just feel like a checklist, because when you get to modern Mortal Kombat, you know, say Mortal Kombat 1, you take invasions. On paper, it sounds great. You complete battles, earn skins, unlock cosmetics, but the problem isn't that rewards exist, it's how they're delivered. A lot of it feels repetitive. You know, invasions, you fight, move on to the next node, you fight again, then collect another palette swap skin, then repeat. And then eventually the reward starts feeling expected instead of exciting. Now compare that to discovering an entirely new character or mode after hours of completing an older game or just grinding for coins. Those moments stick with you, right? And it's not just about microtransactions. Now before people misunderstand me, this video isn't just complaining about microtransactions. They're part of modern gaming, and there's really nothing we could do to change that. And yes, okay, DLC characters take a lot of development time. I understand why they exist. The issue is balance. Older Mortal Kombat games made you feel like your time mattered. Modern Mortal Kombat sometimes makes it feel like your wallet matters a little bit more, and that's a very different thing, because when progression is built around earning meaningful content, players stay invested because they want to see what's next. When progression revolves mostly around seasonal grinding or purchasing content, that excitement naturally just fades. And I feel like, you know, having more unlockables actually keeps player retention, because if you take Mortal Kombat 1 for example, you'll see that by week 1, players were already starting to complain that there was nothing to do. Because if you take a look at it, the game just has invasions, which is bare bones, you know, people don't like it, and then you have single player content, which is the story mode, and ladders, which are still bare bones. You know, you complete the story mode, there's no reason to go back, and then online, and then that's it. And that's nothing for a Mortal Kombat game. Now imagine if it actually had cool rewards. Maybe it had some locked characters or some cool alternate costumes to work towards, right? You could have a crypt mode instead of invasions. You could have a currency similar to coins, and you could actually give the single player or the casual player a reason to keep on playing the game other than just hopping on online. Because, you know, think about it, a majority of Mortal Kombat players are casual players. A lot of players just play online for fun. They're not like the esports ready competitive, you know, grandmaster, whatever, right? They just want to go on and have some fun in a fighting game. And frankly, I think that's what Mortal Kombat was built for. And that's why you see these huge player dips, you know, a year after launch, and it's like, oh, how is it going to sustain itself, you know, blah blah blah. It's, you know, bruh, there's just nothing for the single player or the casual player to do, because you can't really just run it off of just competitive players, you know, milking the franchise, and eventually you lose them too because of the decisions you make. And this is why the older system worked. And I feel like the biggest difference comes down to one word, and that's surprise. Older Mortal Kombat games surprised you. You didn't always know what was waiting. You discovered things naturally. You had secret characters, hidden costumes, alternate modes, modes, concept arts, the stuff that I've been talking about. The games constantly rewarded you for your curiosity. Modern games tell you exactly what's coming months in advance. You know, Season 1, Season 2, DLC Pack 1, DLC Pack 2. Everything is on a roadmap. There's less mystery, and when there's less mystery, there's less excitement. So in the end, Mortal Kombat hasn't forgotten how to make great characters, it hasn't forgotten how to make incredible gameplay, and it definitely hasn't forgotten how to put on a spectacle or just make the presentation really good. But I do think it's forgotten something that made the older games so addictive. That feeling that every hour you played might unlock something genuinely interesting. Whether that was a character, a costume, a game mode, or a hidden secret, the older games constantly rewarded you for your time. And maybe that's why so many fans still look back at the PS2 era so fondly. Because back then, Mortal Kombat didn't just ask you to play, it rewarded you for doing it. But that's just my take on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you guys prefer the older way Mortal Kombat rewarded you, or the newer way Mortal Kombat rewarded you with microtransactions, DLC, etc.? Or would you prefer the 3D era way with just coins and unlocking coffins in the crypt? Let me know in the comments down below. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Thank you guys for watching. Mr. Frosty Flames out. Ciao.